things and authoring things online, I would say, think about that. I mean, if you guys are interested, I obviously can talk about that more after I look into it more, but it hasn't come up yet. It's just brand new, and I think it's a really cool way that the government is adapting to what we really need protected right now. It's not always books. It's also online pieces of work.
Right. No, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'd like to know more information regarding that, because even for our authors, it's not just the book, it's the book, and then it's the e-guidebook, and then it's the, like you said, then it's the podcast translated to text, that they're going to be doing every month, and then the blog, and so, and so on and so forth, all around that same content, what is in their book. So,
yeah. And if I can just elaborate on that a little bit more. And so that's why trademark is so important, because all of that is going to be connected with your brand. And for a lot of people, it's your name, it's your personal brand, but for others, it's something else. And protecting the brand itself gives you so much protection from others trying to copy you and pretend to be you. Now, people could still plagiarize the content, and that's a copyright issue. But then if they're actually trying to confuse consumers, and you have that trademark, that's what's going to set you apart and give you the authority to just tell them to stop and enforce it.
Great words there. That, I think that should really, cement the significance of a trademark right there for our listeners. So thank you for that. That's great. And I'm going to spread the word amongst our team and amongst our authors too. So thank you, Erica. All right. Well, I have to ask you the question, and we're not quite done here yet, but the name of this podcast is What No One Knows. And so where that came from is actually next year we'll be celebrating the first quarter of next year will be our 5th year. So we're going to cross that finish line there. But over the 5 years, I've sat across from many potential authors, and they've said those words to me. They said, I'm going to tell you right now what no one knows. And that's what I want to put in my book, or that's what I want to share with you. And so we have that question for you to please share with our listeners to this podcast of what no one knows.
So let me just clarify. No one knows in general or my industry, or what no one knows about me?
It's up to you.
Okay. Well, I think we touched on it in the beginning a little bit, and that's no one really understands the importance of protecting your brand and your brand name before diving into business ownership. And that's why I spend a lot of time educating and trying to get people to know that, but there's a long road ahead for that.
Okay. All right. Great. Could you tell us now, you're much younger than I am, so we'll just say it that way. I was trying to think of the right way. But what I like to talk about or listen to when I talk to fellow entrepreneurs or business owners is I like them to describe something that's the really fun part of what they do, or their best day, on their job, or, what is one of the favorite tasks of the process of when you are with a client engagement. Can you share something about that?
Yeah, for sure. And I will say it hasn't always been this way. It's been a work in progress to get my business to where it is now, where I have more flexibility and I get to focus on the parts that I like more than some of the others. But, an ideal day in my world on a work day would be, reading in the morning, getting my workout in, then going through my emails, updating any clients that had questions. And then what the best part of my actual work part is getting to do these consultations with either business owners or aspiring business owners. And they have so many amazing ideas, and so many people are full of passion, and they're just so eager to get started and, protect their business and figure out, what do I need to do? And so that part is really fun for me, being in the entrepreneurial space and getting to be a part of that journey to set them up for success. And then, of course, the networking in the evening, that's how I would end my ideal workday.
That's awesome. And I do know how you ended at least one of your work days. Thank you for inviting me to a networking event that you hosted a bit ago. And actually, was it one of your anniversaries for your business?
Yes, it was my 5th year anniversary and my podcast launch. And we had to do it virtual just because of, what's going on in the world. But it was still really fun. I hope that you thought so.
It was definitely fun. In fact, no, it was, you did a great job of it. And it was a while back. And congratulations also that you hit your fifth year. But yeah, I love that, there's just different parts of what we do and that remind us, why we do what we do. And it reminds us, why we started our company, and it, keeps us going, because there's definitely those dig in times, and there's definitely those rough patches, whether it's internal team or external team that you're dealing with as a business owner. But I think the great parts, the fun parts, the enriching parts, and the lively parts keep you going for sure. So I'm happy to hear that. So let's end, as we're ending our time here. It's gone by very fast, but I'd like you to talk about your Make a Seat podcast. And I didn't share this with you, but I'm having a virtual conference with a gal that you had on your show. So I've listened to a couple episodes, and it's very, very useful and lively podcast. So let's please share with the listeners about your podcast so they can listen in.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't know that you were connected with anybody that I had as a guest. But yeah, it's called Make a Seat. And the premise behind it is in the life, in the cards that we're dealt, we don't always have an easy opportunity to form the life what we want, and the virtual, expression for a seat at the table that you want. So the concept is basically that you're going to make a seat at the table that you want. And it's kind of like, the intro that you read about me. I am a lawyer. I became a lawyer, but then I realized that wasn't what I was doing. I didn't love, and I didn't want to do it. So I had to figure out, how can I create this life where I have a virtual business and I have flexibility and I get to talk to entrepreneurs and all these things. And so I made a seat at the table, and that's with my virtual practice. And it's also with the podcast. And what we do in the podcast, it's a combination of talking to successful entrepreneurs about their journeys and hardships they face, and basically how they made their way. And then also sprinkled with legal tips and nuggets, because again, you don't know what you don't know as a business owner. So I want to incorporate that when it's relevant, and when it's something that I think applies to the entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who are listening.
And just thank you for sharing that. And then what episode are you on now?
I think this week is episode 10. So we're doing it weekly. It comes out every Thursday. It's on Spotify, Apple, all of it. Amazon now, so you can ask Alexa to play it for you.
That's super cool. We've never tried to see if Alexa will play us. We'll have to check that out on our end too. But yeah, no, it's very informative. And I think it's just a wonderful resource that you're providing, with your legal background and with your experience, background to business owners and entrepreneurs. Reminds me, I need to connect you with Dr. Rebecca White of the UT Entrepreneurial Center. I think it would be wonderful for the two of you to chat. So we will do that. So, this is the end of our podcast here. So I'm very happy that I met you. I'm happy that I was able to celebrate in your 5 years of your business practice, legal practice. And I really encourage other entrepreneurs and business owners to, reach out to you. And as you said, have a consultation where you can, make sure we're protected and try to prevent the bad stuff from happening, right? Try to prevent, I think what you're saying, the fighting, as you said, that got, helped move you to wanting to be proactive and preventative this way with business owners. So thank you, Erica of DiAngelo Law. And thank you so much for being on the podcast. And
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And we'll make sure that all of your contact information and how you can listen to Make a Seat podcast is in the notes. So again, I'd like to thank our listeners to our weekly podcast every Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. East Coast time here for What No One Knows, the Now Publishing podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, What No One Knows. If you have a story to share, contact Now Publishing at publish@nowscpress.com. Visit our website, publishwithnow.com, for a free download from our The 90-Day Author book, and let Now Publishing build, publish, and sell your book.